Hello guys, today we have lecture number 10 and our new subject when we start today will be philosophy and academic integrity. In short, I'm going to put you presentation for lecture number 10. Our topic is academic integrity and what is virtue. As for our medical Ternopil National Medical University is and the institutional strategy to promote academic integrity, and of course involves an honor code that is backed up by our educational system for our students, and we must develop that subject and that culture of academic integrity. Of course, our course for students who have been found in the, I would say, contravention of the code. And this article addresses the honor system related university policies and the recent development of the online version of the development and integrity course. Of course, today I'm going to, my speech will include an introduction and a survey of the literature, of course, because you must go through some specific literature and, of course, relevant pedagogical theories and brief background of academic integrity, as well as overview of the course design and development, and of course, lessons learned. Be honest. What I mean to say be honest, be open-hearted, open-minded, trustworthy and trustworthy. Again, when people are honest, you can be sure that they will be not cheat, steal or cheat. When everyone around you is honest, you are sure that things are exactly as they seem. So, of course, today I'm going to show you slides, presentations, but beside, I'm going to give you much more information on our subject, academic integrity. So as you understood from my little introduction to the course, we are going to speak about such Christian, or I would say even scientific, philosophical virtues as honesty, and students and people and professors, of course, who write articles, who write books and scientific works, of course, they must be honest, first of all, with themselves, as well as with their colleagues or classmates or roommates or friends. Because in general, you cannot cheat. But when we speak about science, when we speak about university, institutions, of course, universities, schools, of course, you cannot cheat, but if you cheat, you can be dismissed from the program, or you can be, your books, of course, or your articles can be revoked or dismissed from the some lists, and of course your reputation is going down. Today I would say we are going to speak, or I will give you some keywords which you are going to hear from time to time. For example, academic dishonesty, online course, development and integrity, honor code, honor and integrity system. As you heard, very often during that course, we are going to here words as honest or dishonest, honor, integrity, dishonesty, for example, academic dishonesty. And in my introduction, I will say about the issue of academic dishonesty is sensitive one for a university because it is so central for the individual learners of self-identity, the campus academic mission, the university's reputation, and of course the qualification of campus. While universities strive to build learning cultures that support honest research and teaching, academic integrity goes beyond the quality of work to the moral fiber of each generation for learners. And these values include honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. So again, you see such words. So you're supposed to be virtuous. You're supposed to stand up for what you are believe in, what is right, for example, what is of the highest value for you, for example. And it means being honest and sincere with others and with yourself. You are a virtuous person when your words correspond to your actions. So always remember, guys, your words must correspond with your actions. If your actions do not really correspond with your words, it means something wrong. It means you are not honest, maybe person or right person. So academic dishonesty has been a persistent part of the higher educational landscape. And I would say that understanding the potential causes and the complexities of academic dishonesty is critical in building an effective academic culture and system to try to counter this phenomenon. And of course, today I'm going to give you a short survey of literature, because if you have just one lecture, of course, you would like to have maybe more information. Maybe you are going to study deeply, or you are going to write some essay or maybe an article, and you would like to know more about academic integrity, about different virtues, about being honest or dishonest. Of course, you must master more books and more literature, and of course, I'm going to give you some things. So I would say that researchers used meta-analysis of published research and survey with self-reportage by learners, and to get a sense of the scope of this issue. Studies in both high school or college or university reveal an, I would say, epidemic of academic dishonesty. The portions of those engaged in academic dishonesty range from 23 to 89%, according to Miller, for example, or for example, Parkinson. However, these statistics are not comparable across time and setting because of the substantial, I would say, disparity in rates being reported at any one point in time. So academic integrity and academic misconduct. Academic misconduct involves a range of behaviors. According to Hughes or McCabe, misconduct may include the following. For example, working on an assignment with others when asked for individual work. Getting questions and answers from someone who has already taken a test. Copying a few sentences of material without footnoting, fabricating or falsifying lab data, and receiving unauthorized help on an assignment. So it can be academic misconduct. For example, you're supposed to write by yourself, or you're supposed to take a test or questions by yourself, and you consult somebody else, or somebody else is helping you, or you write an article and you take a couple of sentences from your friend or classmate without footnoting. So always, guys, remember, if you say or you take some other thoughts or sentences, you always must footnote it. So academic integrity, it's a set of ethical principles and rules established by law, which should guide the participants of the educational process during training and teaching and conducting scientific creative activities in order to ensure confidence in learning outcomes and or scientific creative achievements. So academic integrity based on the following principles: honesty, trust, justice, respect, responsibility, and courage. So, and some researchers, I would say, have listed more forms of academic dishonesty in a survey to see, for example, how people perceive this issue. And this list includes such issues as watching videotapes, films of famous works of fiction rather than reading an assigned book, or using an article only after having read the abstract, changing laboratory results, switching off, going to lectures and taking notes with friends, and turning in the same paper two different courses. For example, you turn in a paper which your, for example, roommate or your friend or your relative did the same work or turned the same paper last year. So in this case, and in general, we can speak about external and internal causal factors. Causal factors for academic dishonesty may be separated into external and situational one, and internal developmental ones. And values may be socially created between people and embedded in a culture. Some values are situationally based and linguistic. Other values may be internal to individuals and may be the factor of the development stages. So external and situational casual factors. I would say that in recent years, here have been some studies that have focused on academic dishonesty in more international settings, I would say. One identified the influence of culture on academic integrity, according to McKay, for example, or Fakhali. Some researchers find cheating more endemic in the collectivism cultures with others and more challenges in individualistic ones. Instrumental communities create and I would say egocentric climate in the which an individual conscience takes, I would say, precedence over the claims of the community. It's according to Kaplan, Mabel, for example, and exacerbate and complicated task of reinforcing academic integrity on campus. So see internal, external factors. So external factors are related to competition affect academic dishonesty. This may include pressures to achieve good grades, test, for example, grades. It's not a secret that everybody would like to have good marks, and sometimes one can cheat, of course. Those with higher grade point average, I'm talking now about GPA. You know what is GPA stands for, a general point average, tend to be less likely to cheat. So if you have a high grade, if you are good or an excellent, or I would say, and outstanding student, of course, you have no reason, or you don't have to cheat, basically, because you are responsible, you study, and you are honest. First of all, you are honest with yourself. Older or non-traditional students tend to cheat less than their younger counterparts. And those, I would say, involved in campus organizations like the Greek system and athletic teams are more likely to cheat than their peers, according to Harding, for example, or Carpenter, Finley, Montgomery. Those with membership in Greek organizations have a greater likelihood to fabricate sources. Students may not have I would say, internalized the various sources of professional ethics for the different domain fields. So it's some thoughts on that topic. Let's speak a little bit more about some internal risk factors related to study skills. Can be, as for me, poor time management, lack of preparation, lack of skills to find resources, unwillingness to follow recommended beauty practice, inability to seek appropriate help, and low intrinsic interest in subject. So these can be many reasons for academic integrity, or I would say academic dishonesty. Now you see academic plagiarism, publication. It's it's a big problem in modern science, in universities, in schools. Before I gave you some numbers, some percentage of pupils or students who cheat, and academic plagiarism is one of the big problems for today. It's a publication partially or completely of scientifically creative results obtained by other persons as the results of own research, creativity, or reproduction of published text, published works of art of other authors without indications of authorship. Remember, I have told you about footnotes. Self can be another version, another kind of plagiarism. It's a self-plagiarism. Publication partially or completely of own previously published scientific results as new scientific result. For example, you submit papers or an article to a conference, and you use your previous year publication or article, you take some part, you add a little bit, and it can be called self-plagiarism. Publication. Publication, inventing data or facts used in the educational process or research. Falsification. Conscious change or modification of existing data related to the educational process or research. Write-off. Providing knowingly false information about one's own educational, scientific, creative activity or organization of the educational process. Deception, performing a written work involving external sources of information other than those permitted for use, in particular when evaluating learning outcomes. Bribery, provision or receipt by a participant of the educational process or a proposal to provide, receive funds, property, services, benefits, or any other benefits of material or intangible nature in order to obtain an illegal advantage in the educational process. Biased evaluation, deliberate overestimation or underestimation of the learning outcomes of students. See how many different kinds of academic dishonesty. I would also say, or I will give you a little bit more information on that, about the greater level of self-restraint, the lower the level of acceptance of cheating and cheating behavior. There may be internal reasons for not cheating, including pride in your work. Want to know, for example, what your work is worth and get good marks without cheating. So the student development theory focuses on individual student development as, I would say, a factor in academic dishonesty. So a consensus view is that cheating will never be absolutely eradicated either in face-to-face courses or online ones, including potential situations where students may pay another to take the full course in their stead. Today we study offline. Before we studied online. Now we have a mix educational systems, and of course it's a very big issue for now, because if you study offline or if you study online, it can be two different systems, two different visions, two different opportunities. And if you study online and when you use your computer at home, for example, when your classmates and professors are far away and you can use your computer, for example, for helping, for searching some additional information during class. Of course, it can help you, but it's like you have, or some students have more chances to, for example, to be a little bit dishonest or cheat a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about technology and academic dishonesty. the role of technology has been controversial in terms of effect on academic honesty. Some have linked the popularity of the internet and the web to growing e-cheating. For example, web-based distance education may be more, I would say, conductive for or to academic dishonesty than face-to-face. What I have told you before, online education and offline education. When you are face-to-face, face to your professor, of course, you have less chances, or you are not thinking even how to cheat. But if you are using your web, you are using Google, you use internet, I repeat, whenever you are working or studying or you are by yourself, you have more chances to be dishonest. Technologically based online environments might also be designed to lessen academic dishonesty. Some testing systems have built-in, I would say, misuse detection or plagiarism detection. Others use computer forensics to track student work. Some use keylogger, spyware, and sniffers to detect academic dishonesty. And as for now, you know, for example, our university and more universities, or many universities nowadays, they have special programs which can track, for example, your work or your book or your article for plagiarism. And before you publish one, you're supposed to take a special paper for that special office which deals with academic integrity. You're supposed to take a paper on your work, plagiarism, of many percentage is you borrowed, for example, or you footnoted, and what percentage is your own. I would say again that technologically based online environments might also be designed to lessen academic dishonesty. And now let's talk a little bit institutional interventions. What is institutional interventions? Universities will need to more clearly explain the rationale for promoting academic honesty and integrity in lab or research work. Many argue that this critical value needs to be supported from the top with its authority allocation at the level of presidents, boards, and I would say accrediting associations. Leaders need to bring in all elements on campus to align behind the academic integrity policy, to avoid some of the blame shifting that may occur regarding academic dishonesty. Universities will honor codes have been found to have lower incidence of cheating. For example, 24% of students report cheating versus 47% in schools without honor codes. And I would say that the modified honor code is one way a larger institution can be promote and hold students accountable to concerns of academic integrity. The modified honor code has both communication of importance of academic integrity and student involvement in decision-making body regarding academic integrity. It's a little bit complicated, I know, but it's academic integrity. And for example, I would say that faculty members play an important role in the university's academic integrity policy. For example, McCabe and Pavlova offered the foundational 10 principles of academic integrity. There is also an apparent I would say, in faculty's general stated discouragement of cheating and their actual involvement in its limitation. Their in-class behaviors may discourage a serious approach to academic honesty. I would say that 20% of faculty in some universities reported that they did not watch students while they were taking a test, and around 26% of faculty had no syllabi statements regarding cheating, and furthermore, even 79% of faculty reported having caught a student cheating. Only 9% reported penalizing the student. It's this percentage. It's according to faculty in Graphic. As you see, different percentage and different results. And I would say how faculty members design assignments which affects learning integrity. One approach is to vary assignments and assessments between terms. Another is to avoid penalizing students for getting unexpected laboratory or research results. The institutions also needs to provide the proper equipment to fulfill the work, for example. So faculty, I would say, needs to build communities where the learning is emphasized over measures of academic achievements, and where role models who do not cut corners are allowed. So learners need to be, I would say, inoculated against pro-plagiarism justifications through rational and cognitive reasons in order to build up attitudinal resistance. The researchers have pointed out people's ability to both engage in academic dishonesty but still consider themselves honest people, for example. Next, we are going to talk a little bit about pedagogical theories, but before, let's read what is homework. Homework is to make a list of integrity rules that you would like to introduce in the school and that would be followed by both students and teachers. At the beginnings of the next lesson, we will discuss together which of them we can accept as the rules in our class. Look for 2 more causes of plagiarism which involve famous people, organizations, or companies. What kind of violation of academic integrity is this? For example, Dennis is an 11th grade student. To enter the university of his dreams, he must obtain a high-grade certificate. In fact, Denis does not have high grades in half of the subjects, so his parents decided to negotiate with teachers to increase his grades. As a reward for this, Denis' parents will buy new sport equipment for the physical educational top. And you have answers, possible answers to that situational task or question. Deception, falsification, bribery, biased evaluation. Or what kind of violation of academic integrity is this? Sasha and Lichka, for example, decided to take part in the contest of social video advertising honesty begins with you. Dozens of videos were viewed on the YouTube, and then one of the ones they liked the most was reshot, recreating the plot and even the locations. They were delighted with their ingenuity and hoped to win. And you have also possible answers to the situational task, question ABCD, deception, falsification, plagiarism, and biased evaluation. You have another task, you have another question. Svetlana is 23 years old today, and she is defending her dissertation in astronomy and the location of stars in the sky. She has previously worked on the research on the same topic and has done a lot of research on which she has published several articles. The girl used excerpts from them in her dissertation, but did not mention it anywhere. And you have a couple of answers again: deception, falsification, self-plagiarism, or biased evaluation. In that case, maybe self-plagiarism. So you have another situational task. What kind of violation of academic integrity is this? Ivan, a third-year student at University of Civil Engineering, came up with a new technology for strengthening walls. He was unable to test this technology as it requires a lot of money, of course. But since he already had to take a term paper, he used the data of a study by Sergey, who worked on a similar work for 4 years ago. So what is the answer? What kind of academic dishonesty is it? Deception, falsification, fabrication, or academic plagiarism? Another one, what kind of violation of academic integrity is this? Peter, a student at the University of Chemistry, has developed a new prescription for a cure for stomach pain. In a scientific publication describing the prescription, he noted that the drug is more effective than previous analogs. To substantiate his hypothesis, the boy conducted clinical experiments, most of which did not confirm his hypothesis. In the publication, he substituted the results of research to justify his hypothesis. So what is this? Deception, falsification, fabrication, academic plagiarism. So you can see a couple, and I gave you a couple of situational tasks or questions with different possible answers. When you visit GUI's Moodle system, of course, you will be able to see our presentation, and in free time or in your spare time, you can read over the same questions, and you can find the correct answers for yourselves. And now let's come back to pedagogical theories, for example, which I have promised you before. Since the implementation of the honor system in 1999, honor system staff members have emphasized a student development perspective in adjudicating those found in violation of the honor pitch. Several studies have determined that becoming more, I would say, difficult in integrity is one of several development tasks. Those, I would say, associated with the honor system are therefore committed to using procedures and sanctions that are educational in nature. Staff members strongly believe that college students or university students are still developing in what it means to make ethical decisions in times of dilemmas, for example, whether or not to cheat. They also believe in the character development becoming more honest does not stop when young adults have leave home, for example. And on the contrary, many college or university students learn what it means to be a good person and a good citizen through liberal education in the old-fashioned definition, and in the project such as service learning. So I would say when young adults learn that it is not all about ME, they come to understand that living in a community requires following certain rules. Remember, we all social persons, we live in different states have different rules, and we're supposed to live according to the rules. You cannot break the rules. And sometimes, I would say, young adults away from home need to learn from the guidance of those more experienced people or older, for example, students or classmates or roommates. I would say, although all vectors work together for a complete individual, the seventh vector, developing integrity, relates directly to honor council and honor system. The goal for this vector is for the student to develop, I would say, congruence between their moral thoughts and their actions. The student begins to demonstrate a mutual respect of oneself and others while incorporating appropriate ethical decision making strategies and into daily life. With Chikrin's development of integrity, college or university students are also seeking to develop reasoning for moral judgment and decision making. As ethics, integrity, and moral reasoning are often intertwined. The theories of Kierkegaard, for example. So, as a student that determines how to connect himself or herself to the community in design making. For example, some authors give 5 guidelines for an ethical design. And these 5 guidelines give structures to an honor and integrity system to be fair and honest with all involved and help them to make decisions in the future. The 5 guidelines are as follows: respecting autonomy or understanding that what one person might do may not be appropriate design for all. Doing no harm, understanding the necessity, I would say, to cause not extra harm to others because of one's decision. Benefiting others, understanding in what ways a decision can be or benefit to another. Being just, asking oneself if the decision being made is fair and just to those involved. And the final being faithful, asking oneself if they are being faithful to the ideas, people, and morals that one holds dear. Now we speak a little bit on the background of the honor and integrity system. Some academic circles, communities, and universities, they provide so-called task force for academic honesty with a charge to create the policies and guidelines to enhance academic integrity. I would say that some universities also approved the proposed modified honor code system. And since its inception, some universities and the integrity system reports have ranged from minor offenses such as having a fellow classmate sign on attendance sheet for another to major offenses which could include law enforcement officials through breaking and entering to gain test materials, or bribery for an unpleased grade. As previously mentioned, faculty and staff reporters may determine sanctions for the alleged violators. So as you can see, some violations can be minor and some violations can be, you can say, major, which will be involved police or law enforcement. So let's talk a little bit about the development and integrity course. I would say the following the inception of the honor and integrity system, the Honor Council saw a need for a way of removal. It's according to, I would say, American system EX from XF grade, as well as the way to educate students through the honor violation sanctions. The need for an online version of the development and integrity course originated with the growing number of students finish their studies and more on the pursue work and other endeavors, but also still need to take this course in order to fulfill sanctions or remove an X. It's about international system. It's all about different grades. Let's talk a little bit about the objectives of our course objectives. The course objectives enable students to understand that they are still developing integrity while in college or university. And they will emphasize with other stakeholders perspectives in terms of academic dishonesty situation. In order to formulate better design-making skills while in a classroom or future profession-based dilemma, students will be able to understand several, I would say, perspectives in viewing ethical behavior and appreciate multiple sides to an argument or situation. Optimally, they will choose not to act unethically in the future. More specifically, students will identify the ethical risks of academic dishonesty and evaluate their own academic ethical decision-making strategies. Students may adopt different strategies in ethical design making, decision making through reflecting and self-monitoring dialogue. They will increase their awareness of their own moral agency, I would say, in everyday situation, everyday life, and more aware of their obligation to help others manage ethical design making while respecting others' boundaries. Let's now talk a little bit about student development. Example creates the framework understanding of students' development as an element of concealing. For example, the instructor's videotaped lecture helps contextualize the course for learners. Learners meet their instructor and they meet each other. The students review the syllabi. The instructor's task or talk is the future-focused center on the professions that the students will be entering upon graduation. The instructor's task is not to necessarily dwell on the sanction, but on supporting the students in developing the necessary skills to function well into the future. And the stated goal is also to help them graduate without another academic honor violation at this university. According to some report, for example, that a survey did include 644 students, and 14 have been found responsible for a second violation, and after having been sanctioned the first. These statistics include those students who may not have had the opportunity to complete the class prior to a second violation. So I would say the students study a case of widespread cheating at the high school in the state and discuss the complex fallouts on a number of stakeholders, on the students, the parents, the instructor, the school board, the university board, and different people. Of course, students must make the decision of which side they support. The students also discuss the idea that others say that cheating is not wrong, but helps to gain an advantage. The students see through this real life example how academic dishonesty among some students can affect those honest students as well. And final for today, topic or idea which focuses on ethical dilemmas in personal and professional lives. The instructor, for example, when instructor shows the effects of student dishonesty in the experience of one instructor and administrator who serves as a guest speaker, for example. The instructor illustrates 4 approaches to framing ethical dilemmas: principle-based, cause-based, virtue-based, and responsibility-based, for example. What principle or rule was broken in the ethical dilemma? What specific case details surround the dilemma? Who is the person involved? And whose obligation is to address this dilemma? The presentation shows the strengths and weakness of each framework for professional ethical dilemmas. Students then write, I would say, retirement paper about what they want to have achieved in their lives by the time they retire. Students are also asked to ruminate on personal heroes and different people and what they admire about them. And now let's talk a little bit adoptions of the course and since construction. As the course develops, minor changes and evolution occurs with various instructors and students within the class. And since the inception of the online class, the following changes may occur. The students do not look at the class in modules, but rather weeks similar to face-to-face class. The 5 modules are spread through a 10-week period of time, for example, and each week the new information is uploaded and unlocked for access for the students. And each week the students are also asked to answer specific questions or discussion topic through the online message board. Following their own regional response, the students are asked to respond to a minimum of 2 classmates, and also responses for the same week to create an online dialogue of the week's information. And I would say additional component of the class is a week spent on citation. Although citations are discussed as giving appropriate credit and through the idea of sloppy scholarship, many students were unable to create appropriate citation. Within this week, students examine correct ways to cite books, journals, and websites, and must complete a citation exercise, which includes creating in-text citation and reference pages. And some lesson learned. Building an online course to change attitudes, awareness, and behaviors in ambitious. Any of these elements may be highly entertaining. The strategy was to engage learners in an interactive online course. The course was built in a way that aligned with university standards and policies. And this alignment strengthened the impact of the course. The development and integrity course was built in I would say, principled way by observing the intellectual property laws and federal accessibility guidelines. The course was designed to support learners. It was designed to offer metacognitive awareness and some catharsis as they moved through the honor of integrity process. Students were protected as they went through the course. The students' sense of self, their public identities, and their self-respect were all protected in the learning process. The students' voices were encouraged and supported in this course. The instructor engaged with each learner in a way that each was recognized and affirmed. The course design instructor clarified that she or he would not even be addressing students in the course by the name, unless students spoke to the instructor first. And the off change, they didn't want to be identified as having any relationship with the instructor, giving the honor and integrity profile on campus. The use of the multimedia was strategic to include students in the national debates relating to academic integrity. And the contents also involved case students from a national online I would say, repository with the proper copyright release to enhance learners' ability to ethically reason. And students wrote personal analytical essays and received in-depth responses by the instructor. And this allowed more customized and interactive assignments. And this also allowed the instructor to promote the various learners' respective growth issue individually. So the course was built for transferability with the separation of components for optional instructor flexibility. The course would be designed to be inheritable by others. So the various competence of the course could be changed in or out depending on instructor needs. There would be room for defining domain-specific professional values and ethics that would inform the learning for different groups. And conclusion, as for this course, for example, development and integrity is taught both online and face-to-face. More information will be collected to revise the course materials. What we need for today in the context of online and offline education, as I told you before. Variety of academic integrity is a critical one for 21st century higher education in our country, of course, and everywhere and worldwide, with much at risk if universities fail. And online development and integrity course serves an important function in a university's overall approach to academic integrity by offering opportunities for rehabilitation and further learning. And this course carries pro-social and pro-learner orientation that supports the idea of social responsibilities and second chances. And today I would like to thank you for your attention. Today we finish our course Philosophy and Academic Integrity. Thank you again for your attention. Thank you and God bless you. Bye-bye.